What up, y'all? Underdogs of Addiction fam, how we doing? Today's video, I thought I would talk to you guys what it was like the day of a life. What was it like to be a binge drinker? What was like a day in a life for me? Well, I was never a daily drinker. I was a binge drinker. I had what do they call it? Binge use disorder. So I was someone who I only drank when I was triggered, but sometimes those triggers were positive or negative. It could be a trigger like getting fired from a job, losing a relationship, losing whatever, losing a family member, losing a friend, people passing away. Those were all almost always automatic relapses for me until I went to treatment and got into recovery. I didn't know how to deal with those. I also would use when things were going great. So it's like, oh man, I've had a great day at work. I'm making great money. I have a great relationship. I have good friends. I'm in great shape. I feel great. Cool. Like, let's go celebrate more. And then inevitably, those celebrations would lead to DUIs, coke possessions, getting in fights, and literally unraveling all the things that I preciously had worked so hard for. So a day in a life for me, would be like, okay, we wake up, we go to the gym, we work out. We were back at the time I was recording music a lot. I had a pretty successful independent recording career under the name Styles Major. Check it out. And I'd be doing good, feeling good. I was training MMA at the time, lifting weights, doing my digital marketing for some of my clients as well. And then, hey man, I had a great day, but you know what? My girlfriend, she's acting weird. She's not calling me because I would tend to get into unhealthy relationships. Then my anxiety is triggered. Then I'm like, well, F her and F this. I'm going to the bar and I'm going to go flirt around with some other girls and my friends. And I would just go, normally in the beginning, it would start out just going to the bars, and I love singing karaoke. That was my thing. And I would just get to the bar and it would picture after picture. And I mean, we get there 9 o'clock and we stay there till 2. And by the end of the night, I'm drinking, I don't know, I probably had 10 beers. I used to not really drink any hard alcohol, but towards the end there, when things got really dark for me, is when I started just, having a beer. Automatically always got a beer and like a double shot of tequila. And it would end up where I would be having like 6-7 shots of tequila and 10 beers, and it was all bad, and then the cocaine got involved, and so you're in the bar, and next thing you know, you're involved with that stuff, and you're calling the dealers, and I learned to that's when I became a seasoned vet at that crap, is where I would go pick up the blow before I even started drinking, because I knew I was going to get it. And so I already had it for years. I didn't only use blow for maybe 5 years at the most, off and on, but it got to the point where I was towards the end where I was just picking up the grade A shit right away. Sometimes I would pick up 2-3 G's at a time and sell a couple, even though I wasn't really a dealer at that time. I just would have it because people always knew I knew where to get the good shit, and I would just have it to sell to my friends or whatever, just so they were good. And you're in the bathroom doing bumps, and you're thinking you're having a great time. You're in and out of different cars, and you're paranoid because the security and the bouncers, they don't really want people doing that shit, and you're in and out, and you're thinking everyone knows, and you got to check your nose because it might have some shit in it. And once you start doing the coke, you start just feeling numb. And so like I actually enjoy just drinking more and being drunk and having that fun. Once I started doing the blow, like I started becoming like a robot, and like I just wasn't myself anymore. And you're just living for that stimulation. You're sitting around a group of people, you're smoking cigarettes even though you don't smoke, and like you can't fucking wait to share what you have to say. You're very stimulated, and it does feel good initially when you first start doing the drug, but towards the end that started to wear off. and then you're taking more shots and you're thinking you're having a good time and you're singing a couple karaoke songs, but in reality, you fucking fucked up the karaoke song. Your voice isn't that good. The two girls you think that are pretty cute, they got boyfriends at home and maybe a kid or two. They might have an STD or something. And anyways, and then, you're trying to throw a party. Next thing you know, okay, the party always stops before you want it. The club or the bar's closing, and you're like, fuck, here we are again. Like, I'm just starting to feel good, and now you got to find somewhere to go. Then you're driving drunk. Next thing you know, you're at somebody's house. We're all partying. Next thing you know, the sun comes up. Everyone's just doing drugs, and next thing you know, you're the last man standing, like I always tended to be. I was always the person who was the last one going. Me and maybe one other road dog or a girl that was just as bad as me. And by that time, we'd bought another GR2, so like within 24 hours, we've gone through one to two, maybe 3 Gs. Myself, I always would, monitor how much I did, but like I would be with a group of people, so then, it goes by faster. And then you wake up the next day and it's a nightmare. You wake up the next day and it's like you're living a nightmare, and your brain's depleted of all the serotonin and dopamine. You don't feel human. It's a feeling that if you felt it enough, you never want to feel it again. Some people do a couple lines and go to bed, and then they're usually fine. But like when you were like me, who has binge use disorder, it was very rare for me to be able to stop and go to sleep. I just wanted to keep going. I normally wouldn't go past one day. So say I started drinking at 8 p.m., I would drink until 8 p.m. the next night, and sometimes even into the morning. And even talking about it, you guys, it makes me kind of sick to my stomach, man. And the last couple times that I've relapsed, I've had no fun doing the drugs or drinking. It's just never worth it. I'm glad I'm at the point now where even the last couple of relapses I had, didn't enjoy it anymore. I had a period of time where I did enjoy it, but eventually, like I think his name Richard Pryor said it. He was like, partying and drugs start off as fun but ends in pain, and that's exactly true. And that's just what it is, and you'd be up and it's 5 a.m, 6 a.m, and you're calling every drug dealer from the best coke to the shittiest coke that might kill you, just because you want to get that next high. You're spending $100 on some shit that's fucking 50% baby powder or whatever. Coke is such a dirty, nasty drug. When I think of it and the smell and the nasal drip, it makes me sick now. I used to actually like it, but now it makes me sick to my stomach to think about it. And that's what it was like. A lot of times when I'd binge as well towards the end, I was pushing my own stuff at the time, because my addiction got to the point where I couldn't keep a job, and my businesses and my careers were not doing well. I would DoorDash, a couple of things of tequila, a bunch of beer, and I'd invite 4 or 5 people over who were my friends, but yet they were my biggest clients, and we would just do coke and we would just drink all day, and then we'd show up at the bar already lit, and the next thing you know, you got, next thing you know, you're just in a whirlwind. And towards the end, I only pushed that stuff for a brief period of time. It was a dark period of my life. I do not condone drug dealing. I'm completely against it. It was the darkest period of my life, but I do like to talk about it, just to deter anyone else from going down that road. And you're involved with some sketchy people. Your life is more at risk than you believe. You're at risk of being robbed. All kinds of bad things can happen to you. But that's what my binge use disorder looked like in a day, day in the life is that's what I did. And it's beautiful to look back on it now and just be removed from that. Even though I'm only 2 months removed from my last relapse. Last year I had 11 months out of 12 months sober. Relapsed, got 4 months, had a brief relapse, and now I got 2. And those relapses happened once I moved back to my hometown. So it's kind of been an adjustment process to detach from some of my old relationships, which I've done now, and get involved with a sponsor, work my AA program, find a good church. And like I told you, though, there's 2 times that I did relapse since I've been home in the last year. I did not enjoy it, and that was just a beautiful thing to not enjoy it anymore. And I'm in a good place now, and I really believe I'm going to get a full year. So by this time next year, we're going to be having that 1-year chip. So that's all I wanted to talk about today, guys. Stay strong and take it one day at a time.